The DMT's been in the freezer. I'm gonna remove it and harvest the DMT. Okay, what we have here is the DMT crystals that have formed from the extraction process.
From 125 grams of Mimosa hostilis bark, Merlin produces around 30 hits, ready for consumption among Detroit's psychedelic drug users.
DMT is on the rise in Detroit. People that want to experience something more than just getting high.
And they can go on the world's most powerful psychedelic trip on their lunch break. Unlike a dose of LSD, which can last up to 12 hours, a DMT trip lasts just 15 minutes.
Quite an experience.
DMT offers users a new perspective on reality, and some of them are challenging Detroit's negative image.
When people talk about the city, all you hear is drugs, crime, and corruption. But what city in the entire world doesn't have drugs, crime, or corruption? I had a negative perception of Detroit before coming here. I thought it was what everyone said it was. And I showed up and I couldn't leave. It was too real. It was too honest compared to most of the places I've been.
Like many newcomers, Nation has found a home in Detroit, but life wasn't always that good to him.
I was originally born in Florida, around Ocala area. We were lower class. We had very little money growing up, and we had a hard life. I took off at an early age, around 14, 15, started living on the streets, hanging out with just whoever I could.
While living on the streets, Nation experimented with drugs, which led to a breakdown and hospitalization.
I had just gotten out of the hospital, and a friend of mine, a close friend, came over one day and had a new drug that I'd never done before, DMT, and it completely made me forget about everything. It made up my mind that I wanted to travel. So the first thing I did was I packed up all my things and put out a thumb.
Unlike Detroit's traditional drug users, Nation shuns crack and heroin. DMT is a powerful hallucinogen. It is a naturally occurring chemical, present in humans and is widespread throughout the plant kingdom. This has given it a somewhat mythical status amongst its users.
It's called the God agent a lot, or the God drug, because unlike any other drug, it's in all of us at all times. DMT is activated in you during sleep and upon death.
Nation puts DMT crystals on a bed of marijuana, which users call a green screen. After a few hits on the pipe, the drug floods the brain, peaking after 1 minute.
Eventually you have what's typically referred to as a blast off. You just completely black out and go off into a completely different universe, completely different realm.
Nation's trip lasts about 10 minutes, during which he is unable to speak and blacks out. Then gradually, he returns from the DMT realm.
Everything around me is trying to tell me something. I feel like everything is whispering to me. Furniture, people, grass, each thing I feel like is trying to say something.
Just 15 minutes after blastoff, Nation is fully back to reality and able to describe his experience.
That DMT was very good. That was extremely strong. The entire room became much larger. That wall became red. This wall became white. But everything besides the room felt like it was closing in on me. It was an extremely powerful experience.
DMT is a non-addictive drug, which is gaining popularity among Detroit's new hipster community. But many drug users remain stuck, addicted to crack or heroin, and struggling to make enough money to survive.
In America's poorest city, it's hard to hustle. It's hard to make $1. You think you might be able to help a girl with any change at all? I could be out here for an hour and not make $1. You guys think you can help me out with any change at all for something to eat? I don't have anything. Thanks anyway. Detroit doesn't have any kind of money that it used to. It's really hard for people. Yeah, I'm going on credit. Thanks anyways, okay? Just depends who you run into. You know, there's nice people out there that might have a few extra dollars and help you out.
If I give you this $3, what you gonna do with it?
Probably.
You're not gonna buy no dope with it.
No, I'm not going to buy no dope.
You're not going to buy no beer with it?
Absolutely not.
What you going to do with it?
I'll probably get me a sundae or something like that. Thanks. Thank you, sir.
After 3 hours of panhandling, Jackie has made enough money to buy a packet of heroin.
$5 isn't really enough for my habit, but it's enough to get me a blow, a little bit of heroin to get me by, and I'm gonna go home. Dope dealers don't want anything but your money.
Jackie came to Detroit to be closer to her supply, but the city has trapped her.
I don't want to stay here, you know, I don't want to stay here, but this is the only way I can live right now. I'd rather be out in the suburbs where I'm from, be with my family. But they don't have dope houses in the suburbs like they do down in Detroit. It's the heroin that keeps me down here.
Jackie isn't the only one stuck in Detroit.
I didn't grow up as a child saying I wanted to be a drug dealer. That wasn't my dream at all. For me, I made a couple wrong turns, did a few things that I shouldn't have done, and it put me in a position where employment is hard to obtain here in Detroit because of the recession.
John used to have a job in education, but was made redundant. Despite having qualifications, a juvenile prison sentence means he's unable to get a job.
Because of the recession, a guy who has qualifications, that means nothing now. You need to have qualifications plus this, plus that, plus the other, and you couldn't have gotten in trouble with the law of anything. Because we have a guy here who's qualified too, but he hasn't been in the situations you've been in. I'm one of those people where employment is hard.
John would rather not be selling drugs, and it's not just the personal risk that he finds frustrating.
Now, the saddest thing about it is, like, we perpetuate the misconceptions about African Americans because we sell drugs. Because the violence occurs, it's not that the misconceptions are real, it's that what we do make the misconceptions seem real. So it's very frustrating, but at the same time in your frustration, you still have to eat. And the same time in your frustration, you still have to take care of your family. It's not to say that I can't get a job, because McDonald's is always hiring. It's just hard for me to live off $9 an hour. So that's why I sell drugs.
The city of Detroit is financially broken and fighting to survive. But with so many addicts in the city and surrounding suburbs, Drugs Inc. Detroit will continue as a booming enterprise.
If you're an addict, I guess it's the ideal place to live.
Not their real names, are getting ready for a night out.
Looks like nice coke.
Tonight, they've bought a gram of cocaine to share. The girls consider themselves recreational users.
I prefer doing coke with other people. For me, it's a sociable drug.
I take cocaine about 2 or 3 times a month. As in two or three occasions where I'm going out.
Cocaine isn't the only drug they take. The girls also smoke marijuana, and when they go out clubbing, ecstasy.
As soon as a club's involved, normally we take ecstasy. To me, a nightclub's for dancing, and a bar's for talking to your friends.
Ready to go? Yeah.
Cocaine makes me want to talk like I've never talked before.
It gets you chatty and buzzy. It's like being drunk, but without being drunk.
It does also make you feel really confident.
Definitely.
I can lose my inhibitions a bit, yet I still feel totally in control.
But when snorted, cocaine destroys the nasal septum.
So to me, the greatest downside of taking cocaine is the physical downside. Things such as a runny nose, occasionally a bleeding nose, and generally a sore nose for maybe a day after I've taken cocaine.
Despite the nosebleeds, for the girls, cocaine suits the fast pace of London life.
I think London is very popular for cocaine because it's got a lively nightlife where you can go out any day of the week. And the fact that we have work, and you've got to be on it the next day. You can do that on cocaine, whereas you can't with other drugs.
Although the girls feel that they have their cocaine use under control, many users binge, as they chase that initial feeling of euphoria that comes after the first line of cocaine. Dealers like the Postman take advantage of this to upsell to their clients.
If they ask for half an ounce and you're coming right across London for it, then 9 times out of 10 I'll actually deliver them a whole one and say we'll have the other half on account. If you don't use it, don't worry about it, give it to me back. And you know damn well it'll never happen. It's a sales technique.
The Postman is heading to a drop-off in West London, home to some of the city's most exclusive neighborhoods.
I mean, you imagine when you're paying up to over £100 million for some of these apartments, then you know how much you think they're going to want to spend on cocaine.
This area of London keeps the Postman busy during the day.
What I call the rich housewives, the bored housewives run. And they're just in these multi-million-pound mansions, bored stiff. Instead of having coffee mornings, they literally have got their secret time of having a line with their friends, and then they try and hide it from their husbands. Half the husbands I've served up to over the years anyway, so I'm the one that knows all the big secrets, quite frankly.
To be a cocaine dealer at my level, you have to be trustworthy, loyal, honest. I'm probably more loyal to some of my clients as what most of their relatives are.
To satisfy his clients, the Postman demands the best product available.
I would say I'd purchase about 10% of what comes in front of me. So 90% gets passed back by somebody because it's not up to the standard of my clients. If they're not happy, I'm not happy. If they don't pay, I don't earn.
The key to selling high-purity cocaine is purchasing the drug close to the top of the supply chain.
There's such a massive demand for cocaine. There's never-ending need. I'm one that's got the connection to Colombia, the golden ticket. There's no class barriers with cocaine. It's used by everybody at every level in the city, down to the building workers. There's no restrictions on it. It's wanted everywhere. Personally, I hate drugs. I don't really like anything to do with drugs, but someone's going to do it.
A veteran of London's criminal underworld, the fixer used to operate as a money launderer. Proving he was good with cash, he built up a reputation as a man who could be trusted.
I've been involved in this business for more than 25 years. I became involved in it because over a period of time I got to know most of the major criminal gangs around the world.
In recent years, cocaine consumption has fallen in the United States. Colombian cartels now rely on the European market more than ever, and London is Europe's cocaine capital.
The main source of supply has always been South America, in particular Colombia. At this level of the drug trafficking business, and particularly cocaine, the golden rule of any professional organisation is never work with strangers.
This is where the fixer comes in, a trusted middleman. He acts as a guarantee that the deal will go down smoothly.
My job basically is to bring the two parties together, and then if they agree terms, they'll start business and they'll pay me a commission on the business that they do.
Typically, the Colombians traffic cocaine into West Africa and then into Europe through southern Spain.
The Colombians are very clever. They have so many innovative ways of moving the cocaine around, and no matter what the authorities try to do to shut them down, they seem to be one jump ahead every time. They have what they call the door into the particular country that they want to deliver. They've got very clever ways of doing that. No matter how much they lose, they still get a lot more through, and it's a bit of a numbers game.
Colombian drug trafficking organizations have active cells operating in London, and they have a reputation for violence.
The Colombians can be extremely ruthless. If you made an agreement with them, or anybody makes an agreement with them, they expect that to be kept to, and they will go to extreme measures to enforce that. They have their teams of enforcers. Normally these are people that come from very poor background, and they're prepared to do virtually anything for fairly small sums of money. I mean, I've heard of cases where people have actually been executed for less than £500.
The fixer does not get involved in the physical movement of the coke.
Once I've put the people together, then I'm out of the picture. I just monitor if the deal goes through, and then I expect to get my money in time. I would expect to receive a commission in the region of maybe £2,000 to £3,000 per kilo. I've known transactions take